Greetings everyone, I'm Jyotsna and welcome to yet another tutorial where we will explore painting spring flowers using handmade watercolors crafted from natural pigments derived from my organic dye garden. Spring has arrived early this year and it can be seen all around us right now. There are gorgeous wildflowers growing everywhere, accompanied by the melodies of birds, crispy mornings, warm sunlight. It's really beautiful at this time of the year here in my city. Nature is a great source of inspiration for my creative processes, so join me in celebrating the arrival of spring as we paint nature's bounty with paints made from pigments derived from the earth. So here are the things that I'll be using in today's tutorial. First and foremost, of course, these are the paints which I've made using pigments extracted from my own organically homegrown dye plants. There are a couple of ochres as well. Then there is the ultramarine blue, but these are all plant pigments. Then I will also use a couple of brushes. You can feel free to use any kind of brush that you have, what you are comfortable with. There's no hard and fast rule. I like to sometimes use graphite pencil also, but I'm not sure if I'll be doing it today, but I like to keep it. I like to mix my watercolor paintings with the graphite. It gives a very nice organic appeal to it. So we'll see as we go. Then a mixing plate. I usually use mixing plate only to mix the greens. As you can see, my palette doesn't really have a very big space for mixing colors. Paper towel to dab excess water, clean jar of water, of course. Then, and today I'm using the watercolor, 100% cotton watercolor paper from Fabriano. This is 300 gram and it has a rough texture. It's cold pressed. So I really like using sheets of paper because they are quite economical, and I can always carry them where I want to, and I just love this paper because it enhances the color really, really well. As you can see here, the color comes out really nicely on this particular paper. So paper plays a very key role in the watercolor paintings. So without further ado, let's get into the process of painting. So before I paint, I generally activate my paint. So let me just get it off the paper first. And I did put some water on it earlier, but I'm just wanting to make sure that it is moist enough so that I don't damage my brushes. Because when you try to take pigments, when the paint is too dry and it's not moist enough, that's when you damage your paints, the brushes quite a bit. But I'm using a synthetic brush and they don't get damaged that easily. So I'm going to begin first with the flower that I recently came across, actually yesterday while I was running, and that's the violet. It's one of the very easiest flowers to paint. So I'm just mixing some little bit of violet using Cochineal, which is the only exception I have in my palette that is not a plant source pigment. It's from the bugs and I sourced it from Tenerife. And the Indigo blue, which I grew in my garden last year, and I have a huge yield of the pigment. So for the violets, so it's also very daunting to look at a white piece of paper and don't know where to draw. So okay, let me just draw right here. So it has this petal like this, and then there is a bigger one. Then they have these hanging like this, and one in the center. I think my paint is a little bit too watery, so I'm going to take some more pigment, make it a little bit of saturated, and I'm just going to draw a little bit. So I'm going to draw a bud as well, so maybe somewhere around here. And let's put some more pigment down so it just bleeds through. So I'm going to mix some green using yellow from the Yarrow and some indigo blue. It gives a beautiful green color. So the stalk of the flower is just kind of like, I'll just put it like here, and yeah, and the leaves of the violets, they are like these broad heart-shaped type of leaves. So I'm going to just, I'm not really drawing very specifically, it's just to give the essence of it. And a little tiny one here. So we'll leave it to dry, and for the center I'm going to use a bit of ochre, red ochre, to put it in the center and let it breathe through. Probably put my mixing plate on this side. So once we are working with the blue color, the next flower that I would like to show you is the liverwort. Liverwort grow in various shades, from pastel blue to pink and to light pinks and light blue. They are one of the most prettiest flowers that I always come across whenever I go running, especially in the mountains in the Upper Austrian region when I visit my in-laws. So they have like really slender long petals. So the ones in the front, I'm going to draw a little bit of, just going to give a little bit of a shape here. So this is not the exact color that I wanted. As you can see, I'm going to take this purple. That's the color. Maybe some smaller flower here. They have a dark green red stalk, so which again I'm going to mix with the indigo and the yellow from the Yarrow, and I'm just gonna maybe draw a bit of some buds also around here. I'm gonna take my second brush and draw the buds. The stalk of the liverwort also has a bit of red, so I'm just putting a bit of red ochre into this stalk of the flower and allowing it to bleed through. And the leaf of the liverwort has a shape like this. They're very dark in color, so I'm going to mix some more green with that and get this nice juicy mix of the green. I'm going to add some more green in the stalk here just to vary the color a bit. And so I'm not really a person who draws, paints flowers so much. But it was good to kind of step out of my comfort zone and draw something that I normally don't draw. So I was happy I did that because I didn't know that I could paint flowers. I think I'm just gonna leave it here. And the center of the flower is a bit of lightish green in color with white stamens. So I'm just going to put some green here and come back later to these flowers when they have dried up a bit. And so those are the liverwort. Another flower that I recently saw blossoming, the fumewort. They're also called the bird in a bush, and these flowers are really lovely as well. They are the pollinators, so you will often see the bees hovering around them. So they have these funnel shaped flowers. There's a cluster of flowers, and so as you can see, I'm not really following any particular rule to follow how to draw the flowers. So I'm just going to randomly pick a spot here. So they have this funnel shape. As you can see, I'm drawing very loosely, and they kind of droop like this. So if the petals were to be seen, they will be like that, and these are the bottom petals, which are larger. And you just, as you can see, I'll draw another one which is kind of facing me. And maybe one that is here, kind of hidden in the back. So the stalk of these flowers are kind of come not from the top but from the middle like this. So I'm just going to draw the center stalk, and then these flowers are all hanging like so. So it's okay if the color kind of bleeds through, it's all good, doesn't mean it is wrong. And I'll just extend it a little longer, and the leaves are, maybe just draw some leaves here, the smaller younger ones coming out, and then there's a larger one like this. And so the leaves are lobe shaped. So they have lobe leaves, and if you know the plant called sassafras, you know how the leaves of the sassafras is. It's similar to something like that. And maybe I'll draw a leaf on this side also. So that's the bird in a bush. One of the flowers that I really love is the quince, and for quince I'm going to use the madder. This is the madder pink, which I made using the pigments derived from the roots of madder. And let's see, maybe we'll draw here. So I'm just imagining the position. So I'm going to make the petals. They have rounded petals. I'm thinking of the branch to be like this. Maybe I will make a bud kind of coming from here and another flower here somewhere. Maybe another one. And for this I'm going to use a graphite pencil, so I'm going to just roughly draw the branch. Like here is a branch here, here is a flower, and there is another, and there is a bud here, and kind of a bud here. And maybe I'll make a bud on this side, on this side. The center of this is this yellowish color, so I'm going to put some ochre and stipple around here, a bit of stippling to give that yellow center. And so, and then give some green at the bottom of the, there's too much of water here. I'm just going to make a thick green, and there we go, that's better. A little bit of bleeding is alright, kind of gives a very nice organic. The leaves have also started to appear on this quince of late, so and this is how I draw the quince. Or you can also kind of something that I always do is like so. The next flower is the pink viburnum, and they're growing at the moment everywhere. They are very fragrant flowers, attracts a lot of bees and the other pollinators. So there's the cluster of flowers, they're funnel shaped, but to make it very easy, I just kind of, you know, randomly make these blobs with the pink, since I had already the pink. And again, I'm going to use my graphite pencil to make the branches. I think this madder with this pink color looks beautiful. And I'm gonna just And since the leaves have started to appear, these are one of the earliest flowers that appear, start to blossom actually, and makes the whole place really pretty. Maybe I'll thicken the branch a little bit more because it's next. One of the other flowers that I saw yesterday while cycling were the I don't know how to say it, Iphion. They are these star-shaped blue flowers, and they have really lovely slender petals, like really. So they grow in the wild, in the shaded places. So in the forest, wherever there is a bit of dampness and a bit of shade, you can see these flowers blossoming, and they look really pretty. So let's draw one that is a bit at a different angle, like spread out so. They have really pointy petals, so I'm just trying to so whilst this is drying, I'm going to take a second brush and mix a bit of green again. I should probably mix the green in bulk, but this is how I paint, as you can see. And so they have this stalk coming like that, and like so, and their leaves are like those of nasturtiums and any bulb based flowers like the tulips or the nasturtiums. They all have this broad leaves. So, and the center is actually yellow, so I'm going to put some yellow in the center. Since I already have a blue here, let me just go back to the liverworts and make these fine lines just to highlight. And also in the violets. I'll do the same with the pink ones. And there's a bit of a highlight in the buds as well. And I'll do the same here. Another flower that I saw yesterday while cycling were the winter aconites, and winter aconites are actually poisonous, so but they also grow as a forest cover bed. And they have this center part which is rounded. So I'm going to draw this. And maybe I will draw a little bit of bud as well. And it has these, and it's got this stalk coming down here. They have these really broad leaves as well, which is right on the base. I just want to take a moment here to mention that if you are eager to elevate your creative skills, then I warmly invite you to explore my website and discover comprehensive courses designed for all levels on making natural pigments and paints. Another flower which I would like to share is the Victoria Speedwell. So they are also one of the very early spring flowers that appear here in my landscape, and probably in your place as well, wherever you are located. So I've got a very dilute wash of the blue, and they have 4 petals. They actually have like a conical shape kind of flowers, so they look really, really pretty. And so I'm just going to draw these 4 petals. And these are the buds. I'm going to draw the and they have these really broad leaves at the base, serrated. So we'll get back to this once it dries out. In the meantime, oops, I just dropped my brush. I'm actually sitting on the floor and painting. Not a very convenient position, but this is the best I can do if I have to film something. One other very common flower that grows at this time of the year in the wild are the forsythia. So for forsythia again, maybe I'll use color this time for the branches. So I'm going to use a paint I made from the leaves of weeping willow. They grow all along here by the riverside in my city. And so maybe there is some space here. So let's just draw here. And you can see how beautiful this brown is from the weeping willow. And I made this, when did I made it? I made this in 2022. And the color is just absolutely gorgeous. I really love it. Once again, just like how we did with the pink viburnum, I don't really think too much when I'm drawing something very loosely. Otherwise, I tend to overthink too much and make mistakes, and it doesn't turn out that great. So for the yellow, I'm going to use yellow ochre, and a mix of the yellow from Safflowers. This is a pigment I recently made. I mean the paint. So the forsythias, they have this, you know, drooping type of petals, 3 petals like this. So I just loosely draw them. So you can just draw like so. You can just see how loosely I'm moving my brush around, and I'm just going to some yellow around, make a bit of a circle. There's too much water here, so I'm just going to take some water away. I just like to make my paintings a little bit more organic, and kind of looks like there is a forsythia there. Since the brown is too brown, I'm going to mix a little bit of red ochre with the ultramarine blue and give a bit of a darker highlights here and there. I'm just dabbing the brush. I'm not really putting any strokes as such, and so that's it. And I think the last flower that I would like to share, and I think everybody loves them, I don't know, but I do, and these are the daisies. So daisies, also one of the very early flowers that grow here. So I'm going to mix a bit of a gray. So I've got the pink and the violets, and I'm going to mix a bit of a, making a nice very watery wash of a gray in color to depict the white petals of the daisies. So I'm going to how should I go? I'm gonna make 3. So let's see, I'm gonna make first, you know, they have like really tiny slender petals, not tiny, slender petals. So let's see, this is just about to open, and let's draw one which is already open. And one which will be opening soon. So they have usually pink color. I'm gonna mix once again my green, nice bright green color, so these are the leaves of the daisies. Overlapping with the, maybe I'll leave this as it is. I will not draw anything. I mean, I will not fill it with the color. I'll just leave it as it is open. And the center of the daisies is yellow, so I'm going to just stipple the yellow here. and it has this beautiful pinkish tinge. I've got a mix of the madder and the, I really love when these flowers have this, when they're just opening and then they have this beautiful red tinge to them. Maybe I'll just put some here. Okay. And so these are the daisies. And just to finish, I'll go back to the Victoria Veronica Speedbell and give them these yellow center that they have. And I'm just wanting to dab this water, which is here, and give them a little bit of a highlight. Okay. Then there is this stalk here. Got a bit of a highlight here. And so also with these, give it a bit of a depth by putting some greens here. And also for the violets. So I'm going to give the depth now to all the leaves that are around here in this illustration. And here so that's it for the illustrations. As we conclude today's tutorial, I hope you have not only enjoyed learning how to paint these beautiful early spring flowers, but also gained inspiration to explore the fascinating world of natural pigments. Drop me a comment below and let me know how it was. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Lastly, whether you are a seasoned artist or just starting out, I encourage you to continue experimenting with natural colors and techniques. Thank you so much for joining me on this creative adventure, and I can't wait to see what beautiful creations you will bring to life. Much love and gratitude. Jyotsna signing off.